Alright, today we're going to play around with some if statements. We're simply just going to pop on a couple of buttons and then talk about how the code works. So for this, we pretty much just need 3 buttons here. And actually you can... There we go. Make these a little bit big. And the only thing we're really going to do with these are just make it so they do different if things every time we click on them. So we'll make this a little bit bigger. There we go. Now, first and foremost, we gotta name these things. So BT in, and let's see, we'll go with 3 different setups for our if statements so we can kind of see how they work. We'll deal with some text input and a couple of other things. So let's go with the first one being just click 1. Alright, now change over. Click 2. Click 3. And I will come up here and change the text to pretty much match. So click 3. Click 2. And click 1. Oh, and I'm making extra buttons here. Alright. I've got 3. And what I wanted to do is when I click on a button, this one's going to write to the console, the output window. The other one's going to do a little bit of math, change a couple of things, and the last one's going to pop up a little pop-up box. So I'm just going to double-click on this button, and it adds in the code. You know, when you click on this button, run this code. So we'll just go ahead and start off with signature, a nice little age. Please enter your age. Alright. And this prints a line to the console to enter your age. And then age equals... Now, I could make a text box for this. Depending on the different version, I can use console.readline. But I think I made this as a Windows form, so it probably won't like that very much. So probably what I'm going to want is probably a text box as well. So let's go ahead and add that in. Beep. I'll put that guy up here. Alright. And we'll just call this, in this particular case, text input. Like so. And we'll just line that up with that. Alright, so we'll just write this on the screen. I could make a label with it up there too, but we're just going to practice a couple of different commands here. So age equals text input dot text. We'll just plug that into that variable. So to the variable, and let's fix that. There. Nice little comment. So, now that we have this variable, and I don't necessarily have to use the variable, I could just use text input directly. I just like having a variable instead. It feels like a better intermediary, I guess you can say, because this is going to be an integer, and if I'm reading from a text box, I feel it's a little more ambiguous, although Visual Basic is pretty good about converting things to what they're supposed to be, but it is definitely an integer if I do it this way, so there's really no argument there. So if age is greater than 21, then So in this case, if age is greater than 21, we'll just write to the console, you are old enough to drink. Else, console.writeLine, you are a baby. You can't drink. Pretty simple. So when I click this and it runs, what it should do here is just simply, I type in the thing. It should write down here at the bottom of the screen the answer when I click on it. So let's see how that runs. I'm going to run it. And because of my antivirus, I'm sure it's going to pop up a little notification. Ooh, that's so suspicious. 21. So give it a second here. Yeah, it's good. Yes, I know I wrote the program. 22. So let's see, where's my output window here? Alright. Clickety clicky. Nothing seems to be doing what it's supposed to be doing. Let's see why that is. Oh, wait. 1. Oh, because... Let's see. Am I viewing the right window? Would be the issue here. Let's see. That is output. Oh, command window maybe. Let's see. Oop. Nope. Well, it works in the older version, does not seem to be working in this version. So let's try to fix that. It's one of the things about programming. Nothing. You're always going to make a mistake. You're always going to screw up somewhere. And look at me. I've screwed up. So let's figure out why that is. So I'm writing it to the console, which in theory should work. Let's see here. I don't think I need any other lines here, but let's go ahead and do this anyway. Okay. Normally on this particular version anyway, it would pop up a command prompt option, but it is not. Well, if it's not going to let us console it, which is supposed to be down here, then we will just use a label instead. So I'll just go ahead and add it. There we go. So label output 1 is what we'll call it. And I'll just leave it label. It doesn't need to be anything too fancy. So we'll change this to label output 1 dot text equals this. And we'll simply do the same thing here. If we can't print it out to the screen, then we will just go ahead and change the label. So let's see if that makes any good adjustments for us. Ahem, 22. Okay. 5. Other than the fact that it looks hideous being right there, it seems to be working. 45. Alright, it's doing what we want. Just not looking as pretty as I'd like. And we can adjust that a little bit more if we need. There we go. So, the first bit here, essentially just check the number we wrote, whether it's on the console, whether it's on the box, doesn't really matter. And then, depending on whether it's greater than or equal to 21, it'll print one message. If it's anything else, meaning 20 or lower, it'll print this message. So when dealing with if statements, we decide what path the code's going to take. Now, we got another one here. So I'll double click on that, and that'll be our click 2. This one will make it a little bit longer. It won't just be an if-else. We'll have 2 or 3 conditions this time. So the first one's set up for, if this condition is false, it has to run this condition. There's only 2 choices here. We'll add a couple of choices for this one. So pay rate as integer. Okay. So we'll throw in a couple of variables here, and you can do more than one per line here. And actually, I can go ahead and just use the text box we've got already. So years equals text input is what I called it. Dot text. So we'll just keep that same little text box. We'll just use it for the other button. If years is less than 2, then, and you can put parentheses around this. Actually, you don't necessarily have to. For me, in Java programming, I'm kind of used to this, so I kind of like it better. But it's entirely up to you. Let's see here. Pay rate equals 7. And then we'll say else if. In this case, it'll be years is less than 5. Then. So what we're going to do here is if you work less than 2 years, your pay rate is set to $7 an hour, basically. If you're 3 or 4 years, it's set to 9. And else, meaning that it is, anything higher than 5, I guess you can say, pay rate equals 12. It's quite a big jump, but yeah, we don't care. We just want to see it actually work and stuff. So dim money as double. Just make a quick little variable there. And then we're going to say money equals pay rate times 40.0. So 40 hours a week. Actually, I should probably make this a double 2, really, to be honest. But since I don't have any fractions here, it doesn't really matter. And then, of course, we'll set the input box to be this. So text, or not text, but label. And I said output 1. Let's just go ahead and just keep using that. I'll move it. Dot text equals money. So we've got this. We'll just move this up here, and we'll move the label here. So if I run this, and seems I have an issue somewhere. Let's see where that is. Character not valid. I must not have been paying attention to something. Let's see here. There it is. Old habits from Java. Semicolons. Okay. So we run this. And now if I were to come over here and just type in 21, click the first button, you're old enough to drink. 1, click the first button, you're a baby. Now we'll click 2, but this time I'm going to write in 2, 360. So 360 would essentially be the 2 times 40, pay rate. If I go to 4, okay, 5, 8, 1, 280. 3, 5. Alright, so it basically does the math depending on how many years. And I can use the same text box for both of these. So let's check the last one. This time we're just going to have a little pop-up box instead of using that label, just to get some more practice with it. But if text input.text equals a blank, effectively, then basically means text box is empty. If that's the case, then I will use what's called a message box, which is a little pop-up. You must type a value into the box. Alright. And else if is numeric. I think I said, what did you go back? Alright, is numeric. Probably need to get rid of my parentheses for now. Is numeric. There it is. So basically what is numeric does is it asks, is the thing in here a number? If it is, then it's going to go to this statement here. So if it's is numeric, then we're doing another little message box that says you typed in a number. So number wheat. There we go. And else. Helps if I spell it right. We use message box. You type in a string. So you're either going to type in a number or a string. Text, in other words. So we'll just pop a little message. And this will allow us to differentiate those things. You type in a string. And text input dot text. So it'll show that string when I did this. So message box pops up a little pop-up. So if my text box is blank, it'll pop up a message. If it is a number, it'll pop up a message. And these are ways you can check to make sure that you are doing what you're supposed to be doing. They're typing in what they're supposed to be typing in. Because if I'm not, and I type in something, let's say I go here and I type in Bob, and I click this first one that's checking for numbers, it's going to crash. Because Bob is not a number. But this will allow us to check and see if it's doing what it's supposed to be doing, if we're writing in what we're supposed to be writing in. So, blank, number, and Bob. And of course, if I click here, crash, because Bob is not a number. But this actually allows us to fix that if we have any issues with that. Let's see here. Stop. There we go. And that is the gist of just how to use some basic if statements. Hopefully you followed that pretty well. If you had any questions or anything, you can always feel free to ask. But that is it.